in this session we will be seeing about a method of propagation which is very simple and basic, that is layering. So, layering can be done in the plants which have the ability to develop roots from the stem even in when it is in the parental stem. So, we will be discussing about the layering, what is layering and its types. So, layering, if you see the definition, development of roots on the stem even when it is in the parental plant is called the layering method. So, in this method long flexible soft stem plants can be used for layering. So, what we have to do is, so we have to bend the flexible stem of the parent plant to the ground so that it gets submerged in the ground and it develops root inside the soil. So, this is the basic thing, basic technique of layering. So, in this layering we have to make wound in the stem which induces the root development, and also for the rooting there should be proper aeration and constant supply of moisture. So, that we have to make note of it. Basically, the method of layering can be of two types. One is ground layering and second one is air layering. From the term we can understand that ground layering is done on the ground, that is on the soil, whereas in the air layering is done on the stems, that is on the branches, that is on the air. It is no way connected with the soil. So, in the ground layering the plants are bent towards the ground and it is made to get get fixed in the soil and it is allowed to develop roots. That is, it has connection with the soil, whereas in the air layering it is not so. So, here we are going to make the wound on the stem and we have to make the environment, we are going to give a proper environment or we are going to provide a proper environment to the stem as if it is in the soil and we are going to develop the plant. So, this is the difference between ground layering and air layering. So, we will see one by one. The first is the ground layering. In ground layering basically it is classified into two types, simple layering and compound layering. So, in simple layering what we have to do is we just need to bend the plant. So, the stem which is very soft and tender and it is flexible, it should be bent towards the ground and the point that touches the ground, the stem point that touches the ground, it should have nodes. So, only from the nodes it can develop roots. So, we have to make sure that the nodal point is inserted into the soil. A wound is created on the node and it is allowed to set inside the soil. This makes the development of roots. So, this is what is done in the simple layering. We will see this simple layering and compound layering in detail here. So, in simple layering, so here accomplishment is done by bending the low growing, which means the stem that is near the ground should be selected, so that it will be easy for us to bend the stem. So, the stem that is in the lower part of the plant should be selected and it should have a long stem, it should be long and it should be flexible. So, this is the criteria we have to check for before doing simple layering. So, it should be accomplished by bending a low growing flexible stem and the part that is bent should be covered with the soil. So, the point where we are going to bend should have a wound. We should make a cut and it is better to place a small stone inside the cut so that it will be kept open and that helps in easy root development. So, after making this cut and inserting the stone, we have to put a peg so that it fixes the plant get fixed to the soil. So, peg is used to fix the plant inside the soil. So, after pegging it, allow it to get set for few hours and we have to place stones over the region so that it won't get disturbed or it won't get raised up. Okay. So, while we are doing so, leave the the tip of portion outside the soil. So, we have to be very sure that the nodal region is got inserted. So, this is how layering, simple layering is done. So, for this simple layering, plants like climbing roses, forsythia, rhododendron, honeysuckle, boxwood, azalea and wax myrtle are used for simple layering. So, easily these plants can be propagated through simple layering. And this is how simple layering is done. So, what we have to do is, as it is shown in the picture, you have to bend the lower part of the stem, that is grown on the plant, and it should be made, a cut is made or wound is created, and a small stone should be kept between the inside the cut, so that it will be open, and insert the cut branch into the soil, bend the cut branch and insert it into the soil, and you have to make a peg on it. So, keep a peg on it so that it will not get raised up, or if it is if the soil is very loose, then you can place a weight material or stone over it, so that it will not be get disturbed. So, this is how simple layering is done, and allow it for 15 to 30 days, so that rooting will be formed. After development of the roots, the stem has to be cut from the mother plant, and this is the new plant that is we are getting from the simple layering. And next is the compound layering. As the name suggests, it is also called a serpentine layering, because it is very similar to the simple layering, but what we are going to do here is, we are in the simple layering only one bend is made, whereas in serpentine layering or compound layering several bends are made, and the portion that is being bent should have the nodes, and the other node will be in the upper side of the stem, and the next node will be on the lower part of the soil, and the next node will be on the upper. So, alternatively the nodes are submerged in or kept inside the soil and also on the outer side of the soil. So, this is how serpentine layering is done. So, this technique is very similar to the simple layering. So, what we are going to do is, so we are going to select, as what we did for the simple layering, we are going to select the plant that is on the lower part of the stem. It should be long. So, we should make sure that the stem part should be longer for compound layering compared to simple layering. So, the longer stem is selected and it is bent alternatively. Again, 2 or 3 bends are made and it is inserted into the soil, and same way a cut is incised or cut is created on the stem, and a peg is placed over the cut ends and weight is placed over it, so that it will not get disturbed. So, here we should see that it should have at least one bud exposed and one bud covered with the soil. So, in this technique, the plants which are like vine, like creepers, like for example philodendron, pothos, wisteria, clematis and grapes can be grown with this compound layering technique. So, since it is bent several times, it looks like a snake, hence it is called as serpentine layering. So, this is what is about simple layering and compound layering. So, the third one is air layering. So, we are not going to anyway touch the soil for this type of layering. So, here the plants that is overgrown, that is matured plants are selected for this type of layering. So, for layering the tree species or the shrubby species are selected for air layering. So, what we have to do is select a mature stem which is of pencil size or more above than that pencil size. So, at least it should be of a pencil size or a finger size. So, select such a matured stem and make a cut, ring like cut on the stem and 2 edges. It should be of 1 to 1.5 inch length. So, make a circular cut on 2 edges and remove the bark. Make sure that the bark is completely removed, and after removing the bark, we should make the stem get attached. We should place some mosses or compost mixed with soil over that cut region and cover it with a plastic cover, tie at the both ends. Both ends should be tied, so that it won't the compost that we have placed over the cut bark will not fall, right. So, it should be left undisturbed for 15 to 20 days. After 15 days, roots will start to appear. So, this is what we are going to do in air layering. So, from the picture you can see that. So, first is the selection of the stem. So, here what we are going to do is select a matured bark. So, after selecting the matured bark, cut open the bark. So, it should be of 1 to 1.5 length thickness, and over the bark place mosses or sphagnum moss or compost mixed with soil. It has to be tightly packed in that region. So, the importance, the reason for why we are using sphagnum moss or compost is it should supply nutrients and also it should retain the moisture. So, this is the reason for using compost or sphagnum moss. And after placing the sphagnum moss around the bark, it has to be covered with a polythene bag, and after covering the polythene bag, the ends should be covered at the both ends with a thread or twine. After 15 days, you can see abundance amount of root development in the stem portion. So, after the root development, that part of the stem can be cut and it can be planted in the other place. That will be the new plant developed from the air layering. So, this is about the layering technique. These are the basic techniques which is essential, which has to be known while you are learning horticulture. Thank you.